Hello, this is Mr. Maximus Film. I'm back with you today for another album review. It's been a while, and I decided I would do that today with Jimi Hendrix's second album, Axis Bold as Love. The first Jimi Hendrix album I bought, which was probably a mistake, but I liked the cover, and I already knew most of the songs in Are You Experienced, so I decided to buy this one first, like a year ago or so, maybe less, but it's the first Jimi Hendrix album I bought. And then I bought Are You Experienced on vinyl a while later, and Are You Experienced is better than this because this is a rushed album. This album is very rushed because the Jimi Hendrix Experience were so popular. People wanted them to, the record labels, was snapping at them to make another album, so they did. Quickly, a couple months later, after Are You Experienced, they released Axis Bold as Love, which has a more rushed feel to it all. It's very rushed. The guitars are very scurrying around. Mitch Mitchell's drumming is very fast in a lot of places. On Are You Experienced, there was that sort of overarching blues influence to Jimmy's guitar playing and his vocals. This one that's sort of toned down a bit, and it's more overtly psychedelic on this record. And on Are You Experienced, it's much more laid back in some places. And then this one, there's only a couple places where you get a little bit of laid back. It's much more fast and a lot more guitar based, I think. And you can tell from the cover, it's a lot more psychedelic. There's a lot more effects going on the guitar. It's much more produced. It sounds a lot cleaner than Are You Experienced, in my opinion. There's a lot more also contribution from Noel Redding and Mitch Mitchell. They do a lot more background vocals, and Noel Redding gets his own song, which is a very good song called She's So Fine, which is very psychedelic. There's on his guitar, Jimmy's guitar, there's a lot of weird effects like backwards guitar, phasering. There's a lot of that stuff which was on Are You Experienced, but this one is full blown. It takes the center stage on this album because they obviously were rushed for time, and that's something they were good at, so they used it to their advantage. Looking at the track listing here, there's a decent amount of tracks, 13 tracks. It starts with EXP, this sort of, distortion feedback work. Jimmy is trying to emulate spaceships with his guitar, which is kind of cool, but I usually skip it. I usually don't skip tracks on album, but it's kind of a waste of time, but it's a good way to get you pumped for the album, I guess. Then it goes into Up From the Skies, which is very jazzy. This album is a lot more diverse than Are You Experienced. It has a lot more influences from other things, and this one is very jazzy, much like Third Stone from the Sun on Are You Experienced. I gotta stop comparing the two, but I mean, they kind of go hand in hand in some ways, and other ways they don't. But anyway, so Up From the Sky is very jazzy. Mitch Mitchell playing paintbrush with paintbrushes on his drums, which creates this very breezy sort of drum beat going on, which is cool. And then Spanish Castle Magic, which is very hard, and you get this sort of feel that he's being rushed or something, because it's very hard, it's very attacking. He's screaming for his life on that song. The guitars are distorted, it's crunchy, it's amazing. Wait Till Tomorrow, which is the next track, is very sort of poppy. It's much more R&B, which Jimmy was influenced by. His vocals are much more R&B based. And there's a lot of answer and call with him and Noel Redding. If 6 Was 9, I think is the next one. Oh, Ain't No Tellin', which is only a minute, you can see there. None of these tracks are particularly very long, except for If 6 Was 9 and Bold as Love. They're all about 2 minutes. But Ain't No Tellin' is very rushed. It's just this very short, fast minutes, fast-paced on, just goes into the scurry, and it just kind of, it's all in front of you, and then it's gone. That sort of thing. That was very odd, but I'm not farting. I'm just saying it goes like a bomb, and then it's gone. If 6 Was 9, finally a little, it's very hard, like Spanish Castle Magic. It's a very hard rock song, but at the same time it's much more slow paced, and there's a lot more groovy riffs going on. Then, that's the first side. You Got Me Floatin' is another very, it kind of combines the R&B of Wait Till Tomorrow with the scurriedness of Ain't No Tellin' One's On. It's very scurried, and there's also that overarching rhythm and blues influence. Then, Castles Made of Sand, which a lot of Jimi Hendrix fans like it. I really liked it the first time I listened to it, but it got very depressing afterwards. It's a very depressing song talking about suicidal thoughts and things like that. People who don't want to live any longer, no longer. And it's very, there's this backwards guitar running throughout it. It's very psychedelic and very hazy. And the guitar is very skilled. It's a lot of single note strumming and arpeggios, and it's really good. It's a really good track. She's So Fine, Noel Redding's moment. It's not a standout track. I liked it for a very long time though. It's a good track, but it's kind of like you want more from it, in my opinion. Then we're gonna skip One Rainy Wish. Is sort of hazy as well, and then you get into Little Miss Lover, which is sort of more with the rushness of this album. It's another spot where it's sort of slower, but at the same time very hard rock. Then Bold as Love, which I think is an attempt to do the song Are You Experienced. It's sort of that ending, which Are You Experienced had this sort of very mystical lyrics, and so does Bold as Love, and it's very distorted and weird in its guitar effects, and so is Bold as Love. So I think it was the attempt to equal it. So, to the packaging. What Jimi Hendrix wanted for the cover of this album, they wanted, he told the record company to make it Indian themed. Now, what you can see here is Indian themed, with Indian sort of gods and stuff. But he meant Native American, because he has Native American blood, and he wanted to incorporate that into the album, but they got that wrong. And he said he always hated the cover for this album, but I think it looks kind of cool though. It does, I think, would reflect the music a lot more than Native American themed. This is a remastered version, a remastered campaign. Some nice pictures of Jimmy and the band sort of jamming out. Has a DVD. I've not watched it, of the making of Axis Bold as Love, and that's the album with the cover again. And it has a booklet. So that's the packaging on the CD. Overall, it's a good album. I would give it a 3.8 out of 5. Very good. Still very rushed though. It leaves you. It's very long as well. It feels. I might say it felt short before, but it falls short, but it's a very long album. That's the point. There's not a lot of substance to some of these tracks, which is why I took off 1.2 points, because there's not a lot of substance to Ain't No Telling or Little Miss Lover or even She's So Fine. You just feel like you want more, but it's very cool what he does with the effects and the experimentation and the feedback and the distortion on this album is very cool. So 3.8 out of 5. I might be moving to a 10-point scale on my next album review, because that will probably be a lot easier to keep track instead of doing decimals and all this stuff I've been doing. And I'll try to be getting more album reviews turned out. So I did a Jimi Hendrix review. Sometime I'm going to do a Jeff Buckley review, as I said before, and Kid A by Radiohead, possibly in the future. So this is Mr. Maximus Film. This is Jimi Hendrix, and I am signing off.